Joyce Meyer, a beloved TV personality and outspoken voice, found herself in the middle of a shocking and unforgettable moment. Today, the courtroom, usually filled with the hum of legal jargon and calm deliberation, suddenly grew tense as the judge prepared to deliver the sentence. As Meyer stood there, her face a mix of anticipation and dread, no one could have predicted what was about to unfold. The words that followed seemed to freeze the air, heavy with the gravity of what was being said. In an instant, her expression changed from shock to something far more alarming. Before anyone could fully process the situation, Joyce Meyer collapsed right there in the center of the courtroom as her legs gave way beneath her. The gasps from those present filled the room as the gravity of the moment sank in. What could have caused such a visceral reaction? Was it the weight of the sentence itself, or something more personal? The room fell into a stunned silence as people rushed to her side, the situation unfolding faster than anyone would have expected. This unexpected turn of events has everyone questioning the true story behind Meyer's collapse and the harsh reality she now faces. The career and rise of Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer's journey from a troubled childhood to becoming one of the most recognizable figures in Christian televangelism is a story of resilience, faith, and controversy. For decades, she has been a leading voice in the prosperity gospel movement, amassing millions of followers worldwide. But while her rise to fame is often framed as a testament to perseverance, critics argue that her empire has been built on strategic branding, financial exploitation, and an increasingly commercialized version of Christianity. Born in 1943 in St. Louis, Missouri, Meyer endured a traumatic childhood marked by abuse, a struggle she has openly shared in her sermons and books. According to her, it was through faith that she found healing, and this personal story became the foundation of her future ministry. Her religious journey began in the early 1970s when she attended a local charismatic church and quickly found herself drawn to ministry work. By 1985, she founded Joyce Meyer Ministries, a non-denominational Christian organization dedicated to spreading her teachings on faith, self-empowerment, and financial prosperity. In these early years, Meyer's style was raw, direct, and deeply personal. She connected with people not by portraying herself as a distant, perfect preacher but as someone who had experienced pain, struggle, and redemption. This authenticity made her highly relatable, especially to women seeking guidance through difficult circumstances. As her reputation grew, she embraced the power of television and radio, launching her daily program, Enjoying Everyday Life, which quickly gained traction. The show, which combined biblical teachings with self-help advice, became a cornerstone of her brand, allowing her to expand beyond church audiences and reach millions of viewers worldwide. Over the next 2 decades, her influence skyrocketed, thanks in large part to her ability to tap into the growing market of faith-based media. She published over 100 books, many of which became bestsellers, further cementing her authority in Christian circles. Titles like Battlefield of the Mind, The Confident Woman, and Living Beyond Your Feelings became widely popular, reinforcing her image as a motivational speaker and spiritual leader. Her books and teachings resonated with millions, particularly those looking for a mix of spiritual guidance and practical self-improvement. However, not everyone was convinced that Meyer's growing empire was solely about faith. By the early 2000s, Joyce Meyer Ministries had become a multi-million-dollar enterprise, operating out of a massive headquarters in Fenton, Missouri, with office complexes, recording studios, and expansive facilities. Her sermons took on a more prosperity-focused message, emphasizing that God rewards faithfulness with financial blessings. This shift towards the prosperity gospel was met with increasing skepticism. Critics pointed to Meyer's own lavish lifestyle, which included a $10 million private jet, multiple luxury homes, high-end designer clothes, and a gated headquarters complex worth tens of millions. Many questioned whether her financial success was truly a blessing from God, or the result of clever marketing and an increasingly blurred line between faith and business. As Meyer's wealth became more apparent, investigations into her ministry's finances followed. Watchdog groups and investigative journalists raised concerns over whether donor money was being properly allocated or if her tax-exempt status was being used to accumulate personal wealth. One of the biggest turning points came in 2007 when the U.S. Senate launched an inquiry into several high-profile televangelists, including Joyce Meyer, to determine whether their ministries were improperly using tax-exempt funds for personal gain. While Meyer cooperated with the investigation and made some financial disclosures, questions about her wealth never fully disappeared. Despite the scrutiny, Meyer remained unapologetic about her success, often stating that she had earned her wealth through book sales and speaking engagements rather than donations. She defended her lifestyle, arguing that it was a testament to God's blessings, not financial mismanagement. Throughout her career, Meyer has cultivated a dual image to some. She is a beacon of faith and empowerment, helping millions find hope through biblical teachings. To others, she represents the commercialization of modern Christianity, where faith is intertwined with profit and personal wealth. Her supporters argue that she provides valuable spiritual guidance, and that her success is proof of her effectiveness as a leader. However, critics see her empire as yet another example of televangelists profiting off of their followers. Even as she continues her ministry today, Meyer remains a polarizing figure, admired by some, scrutinized by others, and constantly at the center of debate over the intersection of faith, money, and power. With such a controversial career, it's no surprise that rumors and speculation have followed her for years. And now, as legal troubles emerge, the world is left wondering, has Joyce Meyer finally reached the turning point of her empire?
There had to be a lot of pressing in and pressing on and pressing through. And so let's pray. Father, I pray that since I don't have any plan at all about what's going to come out of my mouth, that you said in your word to open your mouth and you would fill it. So I'm going to step out of here and try to walk on water and open my mouth and trust you to fill it and bring the things out that people need to hear. My story's too long to tell it in an hour, but I trust you to bring out the parts that are going to help people the most. And I pray that when we're done here today, that everybody will understand that there's nothing that they cannot overcome if they will let you lead them and guide them. In Jesus' name, amen. So, we all have a story. And it's not that my story is any better than anybody else's. Everybody's story is important to them.
Rumors of her imprisonment and the scandal that started it all. Rumors surrounding Joyce Meyer's alleged imprisonment have sent shockwaves through both religious and secular communities. A woman once seen as an untouchable figure in Christian media, known for her motivational teachings and best-selling books, now finds herself at the center of a scandal that no one saw coming. For decades, Meyer built an empire based on faith and financial prosperity, convincing millions that unwavering belief could lead to divine rewards. But now, speculation is running wild. Has the same financial empire she created become the source of her downfall? The initial reports about Meyer's legal troubles surfaced unexpectedly. At first, they seemed like nothing more than internet gossip, sensational headlines designed to stir controversy. But as more information emerged, the whispers turned into a full-blown media frenzy. News outlets began picking up on a potential criminal investigation tied to financial misconduct, prompting widespread speculation. Could it be that the woman who had preached about overcoming struggles was now facing one of her own biggest battles yet? The controversy centers around allegations of financial mismanagement within Joyce Meyer Ministries. For years, there had been concerns over how the organization handled donations, tax-exempt funds, and lavish expenditures. Critics have long pointed out Meyer's extravagant lifestyle, her multi-million-dollar mansion, private jets, and designer clothing, all of which seemed excessive for a religious leader whose ministry was supposed to be focused on faith, not wealth. While Meyer had always maintained that her personal wealth came from book sales and speaking engagements, many questioned whether donor money was being used improperly. One of the most explosive claims in the emerging scandal is that Meyer and her organization may have misled donors by implying that their contributions were directly funding charitable works when, in reality, large portions of the funds were allegedly going toward personal expenses and undisclosed financial ventures. Several former employees, speaking anonymously, have claimed that financial records were intentionally vague and that the ministry went to great lengths to avoid government audits. Adding fuel to the fire, speculation began circulating that the IRS and federal investigators had been quietly building a case against Joyce Meyer Ministries for years, waiting for the right moment to take legal action. While no formal charges had been confirmed, leaked reports suggested that the inquiry was focused on tax fraud, embezzlement, and violations of nonprofit financial laws. If true, the consequences could be devastating, not just for Meyer personally but for her entire organization. The scandal took a darker turn when sources close to the case hinted at possible witness testimonies from former insiders who were allegedly prepared to testify against Meyer. These individuals claimed that the organization had engaged in systematic deception when it came to financial disclosures, and that senior executives knew more than they were letting on. If these allegations prove to be true, it could mean the collapse of one of the most powerful ministries in modern Christianity. Of course, there are those who believe that the entire situation is a coordinated attack and attempt to discredit Meyer and take down a powerful religious leader. Her supporters argue that Christian figures have been unfairly targeted in the past, and this could be yet another example of a successful preacher being punished for her influence. They claim that Meyer is being falsely accused, that her financial dealings have always been transparent, and that the accusations are simply an attempt to destroy her reputation. Others, however, see the scandal as a long overdue reckoning. They argue that televangelists like Meyer have been operating without proper oversight for far too long, accumulating vast amounts of wealth under the guise of religious service. To them, this case represents justice finally catching up with an industry that has long exploited people's faith for financial gain. As the rumors of Meyer's imprisonment spread, the details remained frustratingly vague. Some reports suggested that she had already been taken into custody, while others claimed that she was simply under investigation and had yet to be formally charged. The uncertainty only fueled more speculation, with theories ranging from a massive government cover-up to a strategic move by Meyer's legal team to delay inevitable consequences. Regardless of what the truth may be, one thing is certain: Joyce Meyer is no longer just a preacher and author. She is now the central figure in a legal drama that has captivated the public's attention. Whether she will emerge from this scandal unscathed or face the downfall of her career remains to be seen. But as more details surface, one question looms over everything. Has Joyce Meyer's empire finally started to crumble, or will she find a way to reclaim her place at the top?
And we've all been hurt, so I don't tell you this in any kind of self-pity feeling mode. Actually, I can sit here today and tell you that, and I know it even sounds stupid to me, but I'm glad now that I went through what I went through, because I know it has made me the person that I am today. And it's what has enabled me to be able to help many people around the world, because there are so many people, especially women, that have been abused. There's probably no telling how many people in this room today that have been sexually abused. And maybe you've told somebody, maybe you've never told anybody, but if not that kind of abuse, some kind of abandonment, or parents that didn't love you, or people that talked down to you or compared you to another sibling, or whatever the case might be, we've all been hurt. If you happen to be one of the lucky ones that was raised by great parents who told you loved you and told you that you could do anything, you are blessed beyond measure, because what people do to kids in their early life.
Joyce Meyer's legal conflicts and the evidence against her. Joyce Meyer's legal troubles have sparked heated debates, with some seeing them as a necessary reckoning and others believing she is being unfairly targeted. For years, allegations of financial misconduct and misuse of donor funds have surrounded her ministry, but until now, they had never escalated to serious legal consequences. Now, as reports emerge about ongoing investigations and potential legal action, the once untouchable televangelist finds herself at the center of a growing controversy. At the heart of the case are accusations of financial mismanagement, tax fraud, and the improper use of nonprofit funds. Investigators are reportedly looking into whether Joyce Meyer Ministries has misrepresented financial statements, directing millions of dollars toward personal expenses rather than the charitable work that donors were led to believe they were supporting. Some reports suggest that lavish purchases including luxury properties, private jets, and high-end vehicles were made using ministry funds under the justification of essential ministry expenses. One of the most damning pieces of evidence comes from former employees and insiders, some of whom have reportedly stepped forward with claims that financial records were intentionally obscured to prevent external audits. These whistleblowers allege that the organization operated under a culture of secrecy, ensuring that financial details were only accessible to a select few. Some claim that large transactions were routed through shell companies or classified under vague expense categories to avoid drawing attention from tax regulators. Further fueling the controversy are unverified reports suggesting that Meyer and her team may have been aware of legal risks for years. There are claims that internal legal advisors had warned the ministry about potential compliance issues, only to have those concerns dismissed. If true, this could indicate not just financial mismanagement, but intentional wrongdoing, a charge that carries much harsher legal consequences. Meyer's legal team has strongly denied any wrongdoing, stating that her wealth is the result of book sales, speaking engagements, and legitimate revenue streams, not fraudulent activity. They argue that her spending habits have always been transparent, and that the accusations are simply an attack on a successful religious leader. However, critics counter that her extravagant lifestyle and the sheer scale of her financial empire raise legitimate concerns about whether she has truly upheld the ethical responsibilities of a religious nonprofit. As investigations continue, the potential consequences for Meyer remain unclear. If the allegations hold up in court, she could face severe financial penalties, the revocation of her ministry's tax-exempt status, or even criminal charges. If proven false, this could be yet another example of a powerful Christian leader being unfairly scrutinized for her success. The legal battle ahead will determine whether Joyce Meyer's name remains one of the most influential in modern Christianity, or whether it becomes a cautionary tale of power, money, and faith gone too far.
Sometimes it's pretty pathetic. And I know a lot of times they don't really realize what they're doing. Most people are just acting out of their own hurt. That's why it really doesn't do any good to hate people that hurt you. That's the first thing you want to get a hold of, because you can never get well if you're full of hate. You can't do it. You cannot get well unless you forgive. That's one of the first things. And it seems like the most unfair thing to ask anybody to do. But anything that God asks us to do, it's for our benefit. You have to realize that even though it seems hard and unfair, it's always for your benefit. And you see, hating someone that hurt you is like taking poison hoping your enemy will die. It's like you really just poison yourself. So I wanted to kind of divide this up in two parts, a little bit about the abuse, but then I want to talk to you about the early days of the ministry and the things that we had to press through to get from where we started to where we are. Because you see, Dave and I, we didn't have any idea what we were doing. None whatsoever. It's not like God calls people that are qualified.
Public reaction to the trial and the divide among her followers. Joyce Meyer's trial has ignited a firestorm of reactions, splitting her audience into two deeply divided camps: those who see her as a victim of an unjust system and those who believe justice is finally being served. For decades, Meyer cultivated an image of a woman of faith, resilience, and success, inspiring millions through her teachings. But now, as the courtroom drama unfolds, her supporters and critics are clashing like never before. On one side, her loyal followers remain steadfast in their belief that she is innocent, viewing the trial as nothing more than an attack on Christianity and successful religious leaders. Many argue that televangelists, especially those as powerful as Meyer, have long been targeted by government agencies and secular organizations seeking to discredit them. To her supporters, this is not about financial fraud or misconduct. It is about silencing a strong woman of faith who has helped millions transform their lives. Social media has been flooded with hashtags like "Stand with Joyce" and "Pray for Joyce Meyer," as her followers rally behind her, believing that she will overcome this trial just as she has overcome past struggles. Many of Meyer's most devoted supporters see this case as spiritually motivated, claiming that the enemy is working through the legal system to bring her down. Pastors and fellow religious leaders have come forward in her defense, insisting that Meyer's financial success is a testament to God's blessings, not corruption. Some churches have even organized prayer vigils in her name, believing that divine intervention will deliver her from this situation. However, not everyone is convinced of her innocence. A growing number of former supporters and religious skeptics see this trial as long overdue accountability, arguing that Meyer has built her empire by profiting off the faith of vulnerable believers. Many who once donated to her ministry are now questioning where their money actually went, feeling betrayed by a leader they once trusted. Some have taken to social media to share personal testimonies of how they were encouraged to give large sums of money in the hope of receiving financial or spiritual breakthroughs, only to be left disillusioned and financially strained. Critics argue that Meyer's lavish lifestyle, her private jets, multi-million-dollar homes, and designer wardrobe completely contradicts the biblical values she claims to preach. They believe that the trial is exposing the reality of her ministry, which they see as a business empire disguised as a religious organization. Many are now calling for greater financial transparency in religious nonprofits, using Meyer's case as an example of why churches and ministries should be held to the same accountability standards as other tax-exempt institutions. The mainstream media has seized on the controversy, fueling the divide with constant coverage of the trial. News anchors, legal analysts, and financial experts have dissected every detail, debating whether Meyer is truly guilty of financial fraud or if she is simply a scapegoat. Some publications have sympathized with her, presenting her as a persecuted woman of faith, while others have painted her as a symbol of greed and corruption in modern televangelism. As the trial continues, the public's reaction remains tense and deeply polarized. Regardless of the outcome, Meyer's reputation has already been damaged, and the world is watching to see whether she will emerge stronger than ever, or if this will mark the beginning of her downfall. One thing is clear: this trial has forever changed the way people view Joyce Meyer, and the debate over her legacy will continue long after the courtroom doors close.